Pokemon, one of the most legendary series of all time and also the highest grossing IP in the world, while simultaneously being the most criticized IP in the world. No, really, you go look at the discussion and discourse around Pokemon Legends ZA and your brain will turn to absolute mush. So this is also a reminder to take a break from social media once in a while, chillax and play games on your own and form your own opinion. I don't normally review Pokemon on my channel. I usually do normal JRPGs, Souls games, action RPGs, and if you like any of that, make sure to subscribe. But yeah, I usually don't go into Pokemon, and that's just because it's kind of like a side relaxing game for me. I know it's a JRPG at heart, but this is something I more so play on my own time, and I've actually really been enjoying ZA. Also having a bunch of criticism towards Gamefreak and what the Pokemon company is doing. So instead of just saying this game is the best Pokemon game in the world or that this game is absolute dog butt cheeks, I'm going to give you a more balanced review and just my experience I had going through Pokemon Legends ZA. As I was playing through ZA, I genuinely found myself addicted, and when I wasn't playing it, I actually wanted to boot up my Switch 2 and play it even more. So the game definitely has something going on that is really fun. There's also a lot of other fans that are playing it and having a good time. But then there's so much hate around it, and why is that? Well, I think because it's not reaching its potential, and while there is a lot of great things about this game, and Pokemon in general as an IP is a very fun and charming IP to be around, it just needs to reach for that potential a little higher. I think this is a good Pokemon game. It's just it could have been an extraordinary Pokemon game. A few ways I don't think they hit that potential is one of them being the voice acting. In ZA especially, these characters, they're very fun to be around and they're very expressive, especially the character models. They have full-on cutscenes in this game and it just comes off as awkward when there is no voices going on. It is 2025. Pokemon games should have voice acting by now. It would just help the cutscenes, and some people are like, well, what if the voice acting's bad? I don't even care. It would add more charm and immersion if these characters had voices, and there's no reason there shouldn't be voices. Another thing I think they need to work on is the immersion. So I actually think the graphics are okay in this game. They're not bad. I don't think they needed to be any higher. What needed to be higher was the detail, and not just the detail in the environments graphically, but also detail in how you interact with this town. One of the best things about Pokemon ZA and kind of Scarlet and Violet as well is watching the Pokemon in their natural habitat just emote and do a bunch of funny things. It makes it feel very natural and like they're their own creatures. But it needed to go further because that's pretty much where it stops. Take, for example, when you're on a rooftop. I want to get over to the rooftop straight across from me, and instead of hopping on my Charizard that has fully working wings, I gotta use my phone to do this awkward double jump to reach the roof. It just doesn't make sense. Let me hop on that Charizard and let him take me over to the roof. Make water Pokemon super hard to catch unless you have a water Pokemon of your own that could take you through the water. Things like that I think would add a lot more immersion. And then there's the city itself, which I don't think is a terrible idea. It's kind of cozy in a way, and I like the idea of a battle royale going on in this city. But there's not enough buildings you can go into. You don't even need to really do anything in these buildings, but they should have had you be able to go through a lot more of them and just have detail around these buildings to make the place feel more alive, make the city feel more lived in. One aspect I loved about older Pokemon games is you would just go into all the random buildings, even people's random houses, and talk to them. Sometimes they don't really have anything to say, but it was immersive being able to just go into all these buildings and talk to all these new people. And then there's the challenge aspect. Look, Pokemon does not need to be hard, but this game needed to be a bit more challenging. You're in a battle royale, for God's sakes. You are trying to rise in the ranks and be the best trainer around, and it just doesn't make sense that you could just breeze through the whole thing. Now, I can't stand when people are like, well, it's a kid's game. Two things about that. One, I feel like the majority of Pokemon fans are in their 20s and 30s. And two, why do you guys think kids are just morons? Like when I was a kid, dude, I was doing the expert levels on Monkey Ball. I played way harder stuff than this game could ever be. So I don't know why we don't ever give kids enough credit, but that's no excuse. It causes a lot of ludonarrative dissonance. And if you don't know what that means, it basically means there's a conflict between what the game's narrative is trying to explain and what your actions are as a player. And this is basically the trainers coming at you, and they do this a lot slot and they're like, dude, you aren't gonna beat me. I don't even know why you're trying. And then I go one-shot nuke them with my Charizard. It doesn't make sense. You never take them seriously because you're like, bro, I'm about to one-shot you in under 12 seconds. Why are you talking your smack? So there's never any threat, even though they're telling you constantly, oh my gosh, you're about to fight that trainer. He's rank C and he's crazy and no one's ever beat him. And then it's over in 12 seconds. It just doesn't really work. And the last point that kind of irks me is their DLC practice. Like, dude, are you kidding me? They announced the DLC before the game was even out. Just put all the content in the game. This game was gonna get heavily criticized regardless. It would have just felt like a fuller package if you just put all that in the game. Maybe do DLC later, sure. But announcing it before the game is out is just absolutely goofy. But aside from everything I just went over, the game is super fun and there's nothing wrong with having a good time with this game. It's Pokemon, it's always charming, and the combat system that they have here is actually pretty fresh, even though it doesn't do too much to change up the formula. I like commanding my Pokemon in real time. This is actually really fun, and I especially like being able to think on the fly and switch out Pokemon and just do what I need to do to win the battle. It's a really fun system, and it's just fun watching your Pokemon follow you around and follow your orders. You feel like a real team. Of course, trying to fill the Pokédex and catching a bunch of Pokemon is fun. It's always gonna be fun. Although I don't know why they let you knock out the Pokemon in this game and then catch them. I feel like that was a struggle in the old ones that brought a lot of tension. Like, oh no, don't knock them out completely. You won't be able to catch them. So that's a little bit weird, but still, it is really fun going into these wild zones and catching all the Pokemon you could find. It's always a good time. And I actually found the loop in this game very addicting. During the daytime, you're doing a bunch of side quests, which actually are pretty good. You get a lot of different items or Pokemon themselves through them, and then you're going to find all the different wild zones and complete these wild zones in the Pokédex. And then when night falls, you're basically in the battle royale and it's battle time. And I just think it's a cool concept. I genuinely had a fun time with this loop in this game. The Mega Evolutions are fun. I spent a lot of time grinding money so I could get all the Mega Stones to give to my Pokemon. Evolving them and changing moves is actually really cool in this game because you choose when they do it. I also really like that you could kind of just interchange moves depending on how you want your team to play. That was really cool. And yeah, the battles are hectic, man. They're really fun to go through. I think the combat animations are actually pretty good. Again, the Pokemon themselves are great. I think it's the detail around everything else that needed more effort. The cast of characters I also found pretty charming. I liked the whole cast you're around through the entire game, the friends you make. And then the trainers were actually really funny too. The taxi guy was cracking me up. I love Kanari. That whole arc was really fun. So I really like the characters in this game. Again, it would be a lot better if they had voices, but still, I thought they were great characters. I liked the designs of them aesthetically. And yeah, Pokémon ZA is a tough game to review because I genuinely was addicted to it. There was points where I was just using the photo mode and taking pictures for 20 minutes. I loved building my Pokemon team in this game. I wanted to see where the story went. It's honestly a good game in my opinion. I just think this IP has so much potential and they could have done more with it. And I think that's where people get really angry. But at the same time, the amount of all this game is absolutely terrible opinions I've seen, I just don't agree with it. We're playing video games to have fun and go on an adventure, right? And every time I logged into this game, I was having a charming adventure and a smile on my face. And I feel like that is way more important than sitting here criticizing them constantly. Like, if you don't want to buy it, good for you, talk with your money, but I'm just here to enjoy RPGs, enjoy video games, and this is not as crazy as people make it out to be. I genuinely think it's a fun game. I think this game nails the Pokemon charm, and Pokemon is pretty easy to get the charm right because it's just a fun IP in general, but dressing up your character, building your Pokemon team, checking out all the different wild zones, meeting all the different trainers you're going to fight against, it's a fun time and there is a lot of charm to it. I just think they could do a lot more with it, and hopefully they get that hint in the future. I'm sure they've seen the criticism toward this game and the previous games, but yeah, that was my experience with Pokémon ZA. Lots of things I would have changed, but overall, honestly had a really fun time with it. Life is hard enough, dude, so if you're enjoying this game, don't let anyone else's opinion ruin it for you. They're valid in their criticisms, but it has gotten a little heated in areas, and I think it's just ridiculous. And if you're enjoying this game, I'm happy you are. I enjoyed it too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review of Pokemon ZA. Those are my brutally honest thoughts, my criticisms, what I enjoyed about it. And yeah, I like this game a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your opinions down below, and I'll see you in the next one very soon. Peace out, guys.